Welcome to Free Marketing Fridays. I'm going to spend 20 minutes with you. I'm going to give you some actual advice you can use today. Not going to give you any fluffy stuff, no hustle bro nonsense, and I'm not going to pitch you on buying a course or a paid community. So you've probably taken the nurture out of your nurturing sequences, and you probably didn't mean to. I hate to tell you this, but your emails read kind of like calendar reminders instead of valuable conversations with your customers and your prospects. And here's the thing that's wild. You're probably spending hours debating subject lines and A/B testing send times while completely missing the fact that your entire email strategy is disconnected from how customers actually make decisions. And if you're in B2B, probably only about 5% of your prospects are ready to buy at any given moment. The other 95% are watching to see if you're worth keeping in their consideration set for when they actually do get ready to make a purchase. So today I'm going to help you get back to nurturing your prospects and delivering value before the sale. So when it's time to sign the deal, it's easier, faster, and your customers are happier and more confident overall. So today, in about the next 20 minutes, we are going to walk through why most nurture email sequences are actually training your prospects to ignore you. Then, and this is crucial, we're going to talk about understanding how your customers actually make buying decisions, because you can't write effective nurturing emails without knowing that foundational information. And then after that, I'm going to give you a diagnostic checklist you can use, but it's based on what you learn about your customers and not just generic best practices you can pull off any old website. And then finally, we'll walk through how to measure success in ways that actually matter. By the end of our 20 minutes, you'll know exactly why your emails aren't building relationships and have a clear plan to fix it. Here's the problem so many nurturing sequences face. So much of email marketing, especially nurture sequences, has become completely disconnected from business strategy and from the customer needs. Your prospects are treated like numbers, and if they don't buy immediately, they're ignored or shoved out of any kind of pipeline and just completely disregarded. When the reality is they just weren't ready to buy at that exact moment. But there's zero patience to nurture to the sale because of revenue pressures and team dynamics. There's a lot of stuff that goes on there. And then the second issue is you're weeing like all over your email sequences like a little tiny pig, making it all about you and your product and how awesome it is, instead of centering your customers and connecting what's awesome about your product to their needs. Making it all about you is a total turnoff for your prospects, and they're going to delete and unsubscribe as a result. And then finally, I know you have a content calendar and you need to prove the value of whatever nurturing program you're running. But someone decided along the way that you absolutely positively need to send out emails every Tuesday without fail. So you create content that sounds impressive internally, but does nothing for the people who receive it. Meanwhile, your prospects are juggling like 47 different priorities, getting 150 emails a day, and then trying to figure out which vendors actually understand their world and which ones don't and need to be cut. Your nurture sequences isn't only competing for attention in the inbox, it's a competition against other companies who may be centering their customers in all of their messaging. And then all of these issues piled up and then get reflected in your lead pipeline. You're training your prospects to ignore your emails, or worse, just delete them. Marketing sends emails based on what's scheduled, not what customers need. Your sales teams don't know what marketing covered because the emails don't align with real customer conversations that are happening. And then prospects, when they do get ready to buy, have eliminated you from their consideration set because you never proved that you understand their challenges. This isn't a subject line problem. This isn't a send time problem. This is a we forgot our emails are actually supposed to help humans problem. So let's get realigned and help you fix this. If we haven't met before, my name's Sunny Hunt. I'm the Chief Customer Nerd here at Hunt Interaction, and we help recurring revenue companies grow their customer base in smarter and more efficient ways, starting with their most profitable customers. My work tends to live at the intersection of customer research, strategic customer growth, and revenue acceleration. And I've worked with companies like this and more on their customer growth challenges, and I've worked with companies across 15 different industries. And surprisingly enough, customer growth challenges tend to be pretty similar across the board, although the ways they fix them tend to vary. So let's fix your foundation. Before you can fix any nurture email sequence, you need to understand how your customers buy. This is the foundation that everything else is built on. You can't build a house on a crappy foundation. Well, actually, you probably can, but the house isn't going to last very long and it's pretty expensive to do. So these are the things you need to know about your customers and how they buy. First, who's involved in the buying decisions? Most B2B purchases involve multiple people, usually anywhere from like 16 to 14 people in that buying committee. It's getting bigger all the time. Who is doing the initial research on all the different vendors? Who is the internal influencer winnowing down that consideration set, and who has final approval? Your emails need to serve primarily the person doing all of the legwork, but then also give them the information they need to take back to the buying committee, information that aligns with executive decision-making criteria. Second, how do they evaluate the products and solutions? What is their process? Do they comparison shop? Do they need internal buy-in? Do they need to do demos? Do they need documentation, compliance reviews? And then how long does this decision-making process take? Your future email sequence should support their evaluation process and not interrupt it. And third, what influences their consideration set? Is it peer recommendations, industry publications? Do they go to G2 for reviews, past vendor experiences? Do they hire a specialized consultant to come in and help them figure out which product they should have? You need to know what keeps you relevant during that decision-making timeline. And finally, incorporating voice of customer data. You need to know the words and phrases your customers use to describe your product and the value they get from it. How does your solution make their lives better, and how do they describe that? Help them achieve their goals faster? What do they tell their colleagues when they're working with you? You have to align your tone and voice with the way your customers talk about your products. So when your email hits their inbox, it stands out in a way that grabs attention when they read it, gets their heads nodding along with you. So they say, oh my gosh, they know exactly what we're going through, and they understand exactly why we're in the situation we are and have a solution to help us solve it. This isn't marketing speak. This is how your real customers talk about real outcomes. And if you're not incorporating their language into your emails, you're missing the most powerful content you could possibly have, even in an email. So how do you get all this information? You can interview your most recent customers. You can ask your sales team for questions that your prospects ask repeatedly. Look at your customer success stories and pull out their exact words. You can survey your customers about their buying process and use open-ended fields. There are lots of different ways to get this voice of customer data, because you can't write effective nurture emails without this foundation. If you guess, you could probably get lucky, but like I could also go out and buy a Powerball ticket and win on Saturday, right? The odds are there, but they're probably pretty low. So why would you guess when you have the opportunity to get the data that helps you make stronger, faster, and more confident decisions? All right, now that you understand how your customers actually make buying decisions, it's time for your email tune-up. Think of this like a diagnostic checklist for your car, except instead of checking your oil and your tire pressure, we're checking whether your emails are actually serving the humans who receive them. This isn't about tweaking subject lines or testing send times. This is about making sure every email you send supports your customer's decision-making process and builds the kind of relationship that keeps you relevant. So when they're ready to buy, you are top of mind. We're going to run through 3 key areas where most nurture email campaigns just kind of fall apart. And then I'll give you specific things to check based on what you just learned about your customers. First of all, let's talk about connecting with your prospects and your language. Are you using the words your customers use to describe the value they get? Or are you using marketing words and lingo that sound good internally? If a customer says, your product keeps us organized and on task, and then you turn around and say, our product optimizes workflow efficiency, you're probably going to struggle with creating a connection. Problem relevance. Are you addressing what your prospects actually lose sleep over based on what they've told you? Not what you think they should care about, but what they actually do care about and tell you they care about. And there's a spoiler alert here. If you're in the services or SaaS business, it's probably about working smarter, saving time, increasing revenue, something along those lines. And then your buying process. Does this email help them with whatever step they're at in their evaluation? If they're trying to build internal consensus, give them talking points. If they're comparing options, help them understand key differentiators. Remember, these are humans trying to make good decisions for their business, and your emails should make their job easier, not harder. Now we're going to talk about the second thing, which is sequence alignment. This is where you make sure your emails actually are nurturing your relationships. Purpose. Does this email advance their decision-making process? Not your sales process, their buying process. Are you giving them information when they need it to move forward, or are you giving it to them based off of what your sales guys are telling you without any backup? Are you helping whatever internal influencer is doing the legwork feel confident in bringing your product to the larger buying committee? Progression. Are you building trust and demonstrating expertise over time with every single email that you send? Every email should build and compound that confidence that shows you understand your prospect's world and can help them solve their problems better than any other competitive solution out there. And then timing. Are you sending this again because they need this information right now and it aligns with their internal conversations, or because it's Tuesday? Your timing needs to be based on their journey, not your content calendar. The goal is that every email makes prospects think, okay, these people get it. And bonus points if they say, I was just going to ask that question. It was like they were reading my mind, and builds confidence in your ability to help them succeed. Everybody wants to look good at work. Hey, what are you doing? Sorry, I have an issue with my dog. She's eating my mesh extender. Hey, stop it. That's fun. What a gremlin. All right, the third thing, back to what we're talking about, like nurture emails, human engagement checks, because your nurture sequences need to be the start of your conversations, not just the end. So are you making it easy for them to respond, ask questions, or engage? And by them, I mean your prospects that you're sending emails to. If your emails are sent from like a no reply address, you're missing huge opportunities for making real connection. And then personal connection, one step further. Are your emails coming from actual humans on your team, preferably people they might work with, like your customer success teams? Including content positioned from the faces that they're eventually going to be familiar with and working with is going to be helpful in solidifying those relationships before there's an official relationship. And this isn't to say that the emails in the sequence shouldn't be from the company or a brand, but it should be to the exclusion of the people who actively support your customers. And then engagement loops. Instead of just announcing your latest ebook that compares your features to your competitors, invite your prospects to a webinar, an AMA session, some way to extend engagement outside of just the email. Give them reasons to engage beyond just downloading more content. And remember, these relationships are with humans. Treat them like humans instead of just a number on a list. These are additional things to include in your email tune-up. These are just like bonus little things. Number one, segment your lists. Yes, even your nurture lists. Even the people who all downloaded the same ebook, they need to be treated differently. Tailor these lists to different stages of your buyer's journey and personalize them based on job roles, industries, company size, even lead scores. And you can set a different sequence to every segment that has a particular industry focus, a lead score, maybe because they're closer to your ideal ICP and you have more information about their buying decision criteria so that you can be more specific with your messaging. Calls to action. Do you have one call to action, or are you loading up your emails like you're doing a Costco haul? Like, focus on one targeted call to action, and you're going to do better with delivering your message to your prospects. Our attention spans are not what they used to be. You can't just stack it deep and sell it cheap with your calls to action. And then clear and concise. This wins over clever any day of the week. Do not overload your emails with technical jargon, acronyms, complex explanations. Even if your prospects are using this in the daily, you still have to remember format. And email is a format for quick consumption. If you want to be understood, make your messages clear and concise. And then test your emails and sequences. It sounds weird, but bugs happen. They happen a lot. So before you launch any kind of sequence, test it out first. Look at things like formatting, links, images. Test it out on different devices like your phone and your computer. Make sure that it works no matter if your prospects are reading your email on the go or switching tasks at their desk and just cleaning out their inbox and happen to read your email. It's not just the big things that can make or break your nurture sequences. It's the seemingly little tiny things that add to your overall credibility. Let's talk about building a swipe file for inspiration, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you have no ideas, you cannot create email nurture sequences that connect with your audience. And here's the thing. If you're only looking at emails from your own industry, You're just going to be copying the same tired approaches everybody else is using. Your customers get emails from all kinds of companies, not just yours. So start saving emails that made you feel something, the ones that made you click through, the ones that you go back to, the ones that you star in your Gmail account, the ones that taught you something useful, the ones that made you think, oh my gosh, these people get it, or I really need to reorder that thing and get back to whatever it is that they're talking about. And if you're in B2B, which is notoriously boring from a marketing perspective, look at how consumer brands talk to their customers. Check out emails from companies completely outside your space. What is a SaaS company doing that's something that's interesting? How does a fitness brand make you feel understood? What can you learn from that financial advisor who explains complex topics and boils them down into really simple to understand ideas? For me, examples like this include like an email from Peloton, a reminder from South by Southwest, and even a report email from Canva. These are all things that I'm interested in from very different industries, and they make me click all the time. The goal isn't to copy content, it's to understand what makes an email feel helpful instead of purely promotional. What makes you want to engage instead of just delete and unsubscribe? And I can't stress this enough. Your customers are humans first, business buyers second. They respond to the same things you do: genuine helpfulness, clear communication, and feeling understood. So build that swipe file. It can either be like save screenshots in a folder someplace, or even a dedicated folder in your personal Gmail account. Study what works for you and then adapt the principles to serve your customers better. And if you're thinking about making some of these changes in your nurture sequence, you're going to want to know if they're working. So focus on measuring what matters instead of simply regurgitating vanity metrics like opens or click-throughs. Nurturing a relationship is a little bit more complex than email stats that you just pull out of a dashboard in HubSpot. So let's talk about measuring success beyond vanity metrics. Open rates don't tell you if you're building relationships. Sure, they're good for measuring deliverability, but that's pretty much it. So if you want to measure the effectiveness of your content, you need to look a little bit deeper. Look at the replies and engagement. Are people responding to your emails? Are they asking questions? Are they sharing them internally? That's relationship building. And if you have a CRM system set up like HubSpot or Salesforce, tracking this should be easier than if you were just cobbling together a homegrown system, because you'll be able to track through different activities if you have it set up correctly, of course. Sales conversation quality. Are your prospects coming into the sales conversations better educated and more qualified because of your emails? Ask your sales team if your emails are making their job easier, and then go look at the customer notes in your CRM to see whether or not they're actually mentioning your emails or the content that's referenced in your emails. And time to consideration. Are you staying relevant with your prospects who aren't ready to buy yet? Track how long it takes from the first email engagement to serious sales conversation. And this measurement isn't going to happen overnight, but it's definitely worth tracking, especially when you have a baseline measurement and you can measure changes over time. And then customer feedback. Ask your existing customers which email or content was the most helpful during their evaluation and buying process. What would they change? Their insights you could use to improve your entire approach and take that as valuable feedback. The goal isn't just reciting email metrics. You're probably already doing that. This is measuring the value of the relationships that you're creating. Are you building trust and staying relevant with humans who will eventually need to make a buying decision? Or are you just pushing content for the sake of checking that task off your list? Your customers are going to know the difference. Here's the bottom line. Your email campaigns should make your customers think, these people get it. They understand what we're going through, what we're trying to accomplish. They know us. Every time they see your name pop up in their inbox. Hey, she was chewing on an electrical cord. What a menace. Don't get a puppy if you don't want to be babysitting 24/7. Just saying. So anyway, back to what we're talking about. Hey, no. Katie, I know you're laughing your ass off at me. Well, anyway, bottom line, start with your customer insights. You can't do anything without understanding how your customers make buying decisions. Start here, interview your customers, understand their buying process, learn their language, and then use what you learn in your emails. Then run your existing nurture sequences through a tune-up process. It could take some time. It's not a push button optimize nurture sequence thing. Like there's no easy button for this, but compare everything you learned about your customers to the sequences you have today, not against just some generic best practices you read on some vendor website. And measure success by relationship building, not just metrics. If you realize your emails are disconnected from how your customers actually buy, that's totally fixable. But just remember that your customers are humans trying to solve a problem, and you have a solution. I know it's really hard when there's a lot of pressure on, and revenue pressure continues to be like top of mind for every conversation that you have. But stick with it, stay curious, and don't ever treat your prospects just like a numbers game. We've all gotten those really poorly targeted cold outreach emails. No one needs more crap in their inbox, and we are better than that. People buy from people. So that, plus all of the little distractions that I built in today just for you, that's all the time that we have today for Free Marketing Fridays. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope that you learned something useful, maybe got a little entertainment about me freaking out behind the scenes, and we'll see you next time.